I can't tell you how much I sympathise with the way everybody has had to endure this unbelievably testing and challenging time.
King Charles III has sent shockwaves around the world by abruptly issuing a declaration conferring supreme authority upon Prince William, officially casting aside Queen Camilla's influence entirely. This seismic shock erupted immediately after Camilla's betrayal was exposed. Despite the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor on February 19, 2026, which rocked the monarchy to its core, Camilla secretly aided Sarah Ferguson, who was directly implicated in the filthy Epstein files, while relentlessly launching attacks to undermine Princess Catherine in order to cover up her crimes. While King Charles III lay exhausted in his sickbed fighting cancer, Camilla believed her position as queen rendered her untouchable. But the cruel reality hit her straight in the face. The king bitterly chose to stand by his son, publicly abandoning his longtime wife and surrendering all real executive power to William and Kate. A ruthless ouster unfolded right before the eyes of international heads of state, plunging Camilla from the pinnacle of power into total isolation and forcing her to face a humiliating sentence of deposition.
What ruthless punishment will William inflict on his stepmother now that total power is in his hands? How will Princess Catherine launch a decisive counteroffensive to reclaim her honor after these toxic plots? And will Camilla accept defeat empty-handed, or will she recklessly play her final dirty card to drag the entire dynasty down with her? February 19, 2026 will forever be etched into British history as its darkest and most humiliating milestone. The velvet curtain concealing the royal family's dirty secrets was torn completely away when news broke that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor was officially accused of leaking government intelligence to Jeffrey Epstein's sex crime network. This event was no mere media crisis. It was an earthquake striking at the very foundation of the throne's honor. Public opinion at home and abroad exploded into a fury. Public trust, already reeling after years of rumors, shattered completely. The people felt betrayed by those bearing noble blood who behaved in a base, immoral manner. In the very eye of the public storm sweeping through every corner of the castle, the heart of the monarchy was thrust into a desperate plight. Inside a closed royal bedroom, King Charles III was enduring his most painful and exhausting hours. Devastating cancer treatments and heavy chemotherapy regimens had drained the last drops of vitality from the septuagenarian monarch. He lay there, his emaciated frame buried in a massive oak bed. Eyes sunken, gasping for breath. Taking on national responsibilities or voicing a clear command had become a physical challenge far beyond his endurance. The British throne stood before a dangerous void where chaos could swallow everything in the blink of an eye. Seeing the family's honor tarnished and the dynasty on the brink of collapse, Prince William and Princess Catherine knew they had no retreat. They were forced to step into the light, setting aside personal grief to shoulder the functional throne. William immediately took total charge of internal family affairs, while Catherine, with steadfast fortitude, stepped directly into the eye of the storm to manage an unprecedented crisis of public trust. William did not hesitate to unleash ruthless yet decisive punishments upon his uncle. He acted with the coldness of a protector of the realm. William ordered the immediate revocation of all of Andrew's remaining royal privileges, stripped away all titles, revoked his right to appear in royal spaces, and severed every link between Andrew and the monarchical apparatus. William wanted to send a crystal-clear message to the public. The next generation of the Windsor family would never shield dirty criminals, no matter how noble the royal blood in their veins might be. While William decisively cleared out the internal quagmire, Catherine became a solid pillar of strength for the entire kingdom. Appearing before hundreds of media lenses waiting to consume her, Kate maintained a calm, majestic, yet deeply empathetic demeanor. She proactively spearheaded major foreign engagements, directly confronting intense scrutiny from the international press. With sincerity and flawless grace, Kate gradually extinguished the flames of public outrage, rebuilding the image of a devoted, transparent royal family, completely separate from the dark corruptions of the past. However, right as William and Kate were exhausting themselves to save the monarchy, they could not have foreseen that the most ruthless and greedy backstab was being quietly prepared within the palace's darkest corridors. The mastermind
was none other than the woman carrying the current title of Queen. While the entire kingdom raged over Andrew's crimes and looked to William and Catherine's takeover with hope, Queen Camilla was consumed by selfish calculations and frantic fear, watching King Charles III's health deteriorate day by day and realizing that real power had fallen completely into the hands of the Prince and Princess of Wales. Camilla fell into a state of extreme panic. She understood that once King Charles closed his eyes forever and William ascended the throne, her status, privileges, and authority within the palace would be wiped out entirely. To forge a counterweight for herself and protect her private interest group, Camilla chose a deeply base and treacherous path. Despite fierce prohibitions from William and public disgust, Camilla secretly maintained covert communication and covertly aided Sarah Ferguson, Andrew's ex-wife, who was also deeply entangled and named in the filthy Epstein files. In the dead of night, while King Charles drifted in and out of consciousness under heavy painkillers, Camilla used a burn phone to contact Sarah. Not stopping at secret emotional or financial support, Camilla brazenly defended Sarah Ferguson openly in internal family meetings, attempting to whitewash Sarah's image and framing her as a tragic victim, victimized by the media. Camilla's actions were born neither of affection nor pity, but of a calculated transaction. She wanted to use her influence to shelter Andrew and Sarah's faction in exchange for their help in maintaining her clout, creating gray zones of power to impede William and Kate's absolute takeover. Aiding those linked to the Epstein ring while the dynasty was clinging to life was the most ruthless knife in the back Camilla could plunge into the honor of the king and her husband's family. Worse still, the despicable jealousy in Camilla's heart erupted into a furious flame as she saw Catherine shining brighter each day, earning absolute reverence from both the public and international heads of state. Viewing Kate as the new symbol of hope, Camilla felt her status as queen severely threatened. She turned to view Kate as her #1 enemy, someone who had to be destroyed at all costs. Camilla began executing a series of toxic attacks. She covertly leaked misinformation and fabricated stories regarding Kate's personal health and private life to London's most aggressive paparazzi. At royal events, Camilla deliberately arranged for tabloid reporters to approach Kate closely, inciting them to bark rude, provocative questions about Andrew's scandal to make Kate the center of chaos, intentionally setting her up to panic on live camera. The peak of toxicity occurred one evening in the corridor leading to Kate's private apartments. Camilla waited deliberately in the shadows. As Kate approached, Camilla stepped forward, her face twisted with jealousy. She growled, spitting bitter threats. "Don't think you are the queen of this place yet. You're just an ordinary girl who got lucky enough to step foot in here. Remember this well, as long as Charles breathes, I am the queen. If you keep inciting William to destroy Sarah and Andrew's lifeline, I will make sure your name is dragged down into the mud, along with this family's pile of trash."
Kate stood tall, her steadfast gaze fixed straight on her husband's stepmother. She did not flinch, nor did she lower herself to argue, responding only with silent contempt before walking past. But Kate's endurance was not submission. Every sneaky move by Camilla, from the secret calls to Sarah Ferguson to the toxic attacks targeted at Kate, had been meticulously documented by William. The war was no longer a silent feud. It was officially an all-out to the death showdown. Prince William was not one to sit patiently by while others trampled on his family and throne. The moment he held indisputable evidence of Camilla's secret aid to Sarah Ferguson and her deliberate slander against Kate, the future king's fury peaked. He understood that any advice or minimal respect for his stepmother was now meaningless. It was time to deploy supreme authority to crush Camilla's arrogance and selfishness. Without warning or diplomatic formality, William took heavy, resolute strides into Camilla's private apartments. He shoved open the thick oak door and stepped into the room with the majestic aura of a ruler holding the destiny of the dynasty. Camilla, sitting at her tea table, gasped in shock, mixed with anger at the abrupt intrusion. William stood towering before Camilla, just a few paces away, yet the atmosphere was compressed to near suffocation. Without a greeting, without a word of pleasantry, William slammed the dossier of evidence onto the glass coffee table. Inside were detailed timelines of every burner call, every internal leak to Sarah Ferguson, and documented proof of the toxic traps Camilla had laid for Kate.
Do you think your wicked games can escape my notice? William's voice was low, yet carried the weight of an icy blade echoing coldly through the room. You are using the royal name to aid those who sold out national secrets. You are trading away the honor of this dynasty just to protect your dirty personal interests. And Sarah Ferguson's. Camilla turned pale initially, but her base arrogance quickly drove her to stand and hold her head high to face William. Is that how you speak to your queen, William? You have no right to question or lecture me. I am only doing what is necessary to protect members of this family from your ruthless and tyrannical punishment. Protect? William curled his lip into a bitter smile of disdain. You are only protecting your own
Greed and hollow status. Listen to me clearly, Camilla. I am not here to negotiate. This is your final ultimatum. William took another step closer, his deep blue eyes piercing into Camilla's trembling face. You must immediately and permanently cease all contact, all aid, and all shelter for Sarah Ferguson and Andrew. Right now today. If you cross this line by even a millimeter, I will personally strip your right to appear, lock every door to the administration, and throw you out of royal life before you even realize what hit you.
William turned and walked away decisively, leaving behind the resounding slam of the door. Camilla stood frozen in the middle of the room, her entire body trembling with rage, humiliation, and a creeping fear gnawing at her mind. Her deeply wounded pride, coupled with the terror of losing everything, drove Camilla to madness.
That very night, taking advantage of distracted aides, Camilla rushed straight to King Charles III's sickbed. The door burst open, and Camilla ran to the bedside, falling to her knees and grabbing the king's frail hand, tears welling up. She wept hysterically, slandering William with the most venomous words. "Charles, you have to save me. Your son has gone mad. He wants to depose me. He's slandering me and treating me like an enemy. You must use your kingly authority to punish him, strip his power, and bring me justice." Camilla believed that through tears, coyness, and her long-standing status as his lawful wife, she could manipulate a frail King Charles on his deathbed, forcing him to punish William and protect her. But Camilla was dead wrong in her assessment of her husband.
In his sickbed, heavy with the smell of medicine, King Charles III slowly opened his eyes. The way he looked at Camilla lacked all tenderness or confusion she had hoped for. Instead, in the old monarch's sunken eyes remained only deep exhaustion, severity, and profound disappointment for the woman kneeling at his feet. The devastating cancer might torture his physical body, but it could not dim the intellect and sense of duty of the head of the throne. He had witnessed everything, heard everything, and understood clearly who was truly sacrificing to preserve the life of the Windsor dynasty. King Charles slowly yet firmly pulled his frail hand out of Camilla's grasp. That public icy rejection hit the queen like a bucket of freezing water to the face. "Enough, Camilla!" The king's voice was a rasp, but firm, each word escaping his dry lips. "William, he is right. You stop those dirty base games right now." Camilla froze, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Charles, what are you saying? You're choosing his side over mine. I am your wife. I choose the survival of this dynasty. I choose the future of this country." King Charles III closed his eyes, turning his face toward the wall, completely ignoring Camilla's presence. "Get out!" Publicly rejected by her royal husband in favor of his son Camilla, went insane with bitter fury. The feeling of being discarded and stripped of her greatest shield shattered her sanity. Stepping out of the sick room, Camilla realized she had lost her ultimate backing. Driven to a corner, she channeled all her rage directly at Catherine, viewing Kate as the root of all her failures. Camilla launched an all-out campaign to destroy Kate's honor.
She continued colluding with dark media forces, circulating toxic rumors, attacking Kate's dignity, accusing her of faking illness to shirk duty, and secretly manipulating William to seize total control. At a diplomatic reception gathering international heads of state in the Grand Hall of Windsor Castle, Camilla intentionally arranged to assign Kate to a highly complex hosting position while inciting aggressive reporters to fire probing questions about Andrew's Epstein scandal, aiming to panic Kate and humiliate her before world leaders. However, Camilla vastly underestimated the Princess of Wales. Faced with every toxic trap, Catherine emerged as a beacon of resilience, composure, and absolute elegance. At the diplomatic event, despite the malicious questions laid out for her, Kate smiled confidently, answering with the intelligence, sharp intellect, and flawless poise of a future queen. She not only crushed all suspicion, but thoroughly won the heart's admiration and absolute respect of international leaders. The image of Kate radiant and confident amidst the applause of global diplomats, completely overshadowing Camilla, standing in the shadows with a face distorted by jealousy, created a cruelly stark contrast. Seeing Kate shine brighter each day and command absolute affection from the public and world leaders alike, Camilla knew she was losing every inch of space inside the palace. That madness impelled her to prepare one final suicidal strike, unaware that it would be the final nail in the coffin of her own power. While Camilla was still immersed in toxic schemes to break Princess Catherine's spirit on an entirely different level, a historic decision was made under absolute secrecy. Camilla had smugly believed that no matter what, she remained the reigning queen, and that legal status was an impenetrable shield as long as King Charles III breathed. She lulled herself into believing that no matter how strong William and Kate were, they could not cast her aside before the king's death. But Camilla had no idea that the husband she thought she could manipulate had secretly executed the most decisive move to safeguard the realm. King Charles III, knowing full well his health was in its final days and unwilling to let the kingdom endure a prolonged succession crisis, had quietly finalized a sudden Danish-style abdication plan. All preparations were completed in absolute privacy. The king decided he would voluntarily step down from the throne and hand over all real monarchical power to Prince William immediately, while still alive, making William the reigning sovereign, directly governing the kingdom. But the most shocking and bitter truth, the blow that completely crushed the last vestige of Camilla's pride, lay in a detail no one expected. The night before the abdication decision was made public in the quiet sick room at the castle, King Charles III summoned William alone to his bedside. Looking at his eldest son, now mature, resolute, and steadfast, tears rolled down the old monarch's sunken cheeks. Charles knew that Camilla's secret assistance to Sarah Ferguson and her sabotage against Kate were unforgivable. Yet in the deepest recesses of a dying man's heart, he still could not bring himself to watch the woman who had walked alongside him for decades be utterly destroyed. Charles tremblingly held William's strong hand, his voice broken by agonizing pain. "William, my son, I know Camilla has committed unpardonable sins. I know the suffering she has caused you, Catherine, and this family." William stood still, his face stoic as carved stone, his deep eyes unwavering. He did not interrupt his father. "But William!" Charles choked up his tearful eyes, looking imploringly at his son, humbling himself as a tired father rather than a king issuing a decree. "When I surrender the throne, when you hold absolute power, I ask you, show mercy. Please spare her a bare minimum of dignity. Do not drive her to her death. Give her a place to dwell. Consider it this old father's final prayer to you." This cruel truth was accidentally overheard by one of Camilla's trusted aides, who reported it to her that very night. The shock hit Camilla like a meteor, shattering her self-constructed illusion to pieces. The explosive secret dawned on her. Camilla bitterly realized she had never been a peer opponent to William and Kate. The powerful queen status she boasted of had long been revoked in the king's mind. The husband she tried to cling to as a pillar
had not fought to defend her queenly throne. He had merely humbled himself, begging for his son's pity, so she wouldn't be discarded like an outcast.
That reality pierced Camilla's heart, turning all her arrogance and toxic attacks against Kate into a tragic joke. She was left empty-handed, stripped of all support, and her future now rested entirely in the hands of the stepson she had always hated. The royal gala, honoring international heads of state and global leaders, unfolded in the Grand Hall of Windsor Castle in breathtaking magnificence. Crystal chandeliers cast light over resplendent evening gowns and shimmering tiaras. Yet behind the grandeur lay a tense, compressed atmosphere, where every guest understood that a reckoning of status was about to erupt. Camilla appeared at the banquet in her most magnificent gown, clinging to the remnant of her authority to assert her status as queen. She intentionally approached a group of major international leaders, where Catherine was engaged in eloquent conversation, intending to interrupt and push Kate out of the spotlight. Camilla wanted to execute one final intimidation display before international guests, proving she was still the most powerful woman in the palace. Yet at the exact moment Camilla opened her mouth, the hall fell dead silent. Prince William stepped onto the main podium of the hall, flanked by senior representatives and the family's most powerful figures. William's demeanor was no longer merely that of an heir apparent, but that of a true sovereign, preparing to assume full control of the kingdom. With a majestic gesture, William signaled the entire room to silence. Every world leaders, ambassadors, and media turned toward William. Kate stepped up to stand side by side with her husband, radiating flawless royal grace, elegance, and commanding presence. William used no lengthy speeches. He looked directly across the hall, his gaze locking onto Camilla, who stood frozen in the crowd. In a booming ironclad voice echoed across the hall, William officially announced King Charles III's decision to trigger the emergency Danish-style abdication plan. King Charles III has chosen to step down to protect the survival and supreme honor of the dynasty.
William's voice resounded like thunder. And from this moment forward, all executive authority, all responsibility to defend the realm and deal with traitors shall be concentrated entirely in our hands.
Immediately following William's declaration, the sequence of Camilla's shameless assistance to Sarah Ferguson and her dirty attacks targeting Kate were exposed with complete transparency before all guests. Without police, without noisy arrests, psychological punishment was inflicted in the most ruthless and devastating manner right on the spot.
The international heads of state, distinguished guests, and world leaders turned their backs on Camilla in unison. The respectful gazes of moments ago turned instantly into contempt, disgust, and cold distance. Panicking, Camilla stepped forward to protest. "No! This is slander. I am the queen. You cannot do this to me."
In response, she met only a chilling silence. Not a single person answered. Not a single person stepped to her side. Royal security officers quietly stepped forward, forming a solid human wall, gently yet firmly blocking Camilla's every step, isolating her completely in the middle of the magnificent hall.
Camilla stood frozen beneath the brilliant lights, surrounded by hundreds of the world's most powerful people, cheering William and Catherine, while she became an invisible ghost, a stain thoroughly eradicated from the machinery of the monarchy.
The final punishment unfolded swiftly, mercilessly, bringing ultimate satisfaction to all who followed this struggle. Immediately after the reception concluded, under the decisive direction of William and Catherine, the process of stripping Camilla of all status was carried out without a shred of leniency. Punishment took concrete shape within the palace walls. Lady-in-waiting aides, supervised by Kate, entered Camilla's apartments. The Queen's crown, priceless royal jewelry, and every diamond ring symbolizing her status were repossessed in full. The keys to the chambers of power were retrieved. All her private belongings were swept out of the central palace area. Camilla was forced to strip off her luxurious evening gown, replaced with the simple clothing of an ordinary citizen. The punishment for the culprit. Camilla was completely stripped of all titles, deprived of all power, and exiled to a lonely, secluded cottage deep in the Scottish Highlands. She was left with no servants, no luxury cars, no influence, and completely cut off from royal life. Her future shelter food and remaining shred of dignity now depended entirely on a meager monthly allowance and charity from William and Catherine. She was condemned to spend the rest of her days in absolute isolation, reviled by the public, and consumed by shame. The fate of the guilty faction Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and Sarah Ferguson were permanently expelled from the royal life, stripped clean of every title left to face societal contempt without a single shred of protection from the palace. The glorious victory of righteousness. King Charles III shed the burden of the crown, peacefully receiving care in his final days, knowing the realm was entrusted to the most capable successors. Prince William and Princess Catherine officially ascended the pinnacle of power, backed by the absolute support of millions of citizens and world leaders. A bright, transparent, and majestic new era officially opened for the British monarchy, where justice was restored and betrayers paid the ultimate price. When officially ascending the throne, will King William and Queen Catherine keep their promise to King Charles III to show mercy to Camilla? Or will the authority of a new sovereign compel William to deal even more decisive blows to thoroughly cleanse the palace?
Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.